Thanks once again for joining me and taking an interest in your local politics and governance. It's a long agenda today, but a lot of it is not too controversial or things that are pretty much all but certain to be approved, so I won't spend too much time on all the details. So, getting started, there's the minutes, which we're going to skip over. There's the hearing of delegations, of which we only have one, which is the 2026 Salamander Summer Music Festival, which is in its fourth year now. So if there's of any interest to you as to what that procedure looks like for getting an event approved in the city of Brandon, I think in particular when it comes to noise ordinance and perhaps some venue or securing of venues, then that may be of interest for you to review. A lot of the subjects for this evening are the financial plan and surrounding items. So there's a public hearing for the financial plan, which I believe is a legal requirement or legislative requirement. There's the replacement of a police vehicle, which has been slipped in to occur as well. Then there's the financial plan itself and also the financial information return. So just to hit through those attachments really quickly, this is the financial plan itself, I believe, or not the full thing, but a sort of high level overview of it. And yes, 32 pages is relatively high level. So that's all there to go over if you wish, but most of that's already been seen for the vast majority through the budget deliberations. This is the replacement of the police vehicle, so long and short of this one from my reading was there was a vehicle involved in a collision when I don't exactly know or can't be told from this PDF. But there is a approximately $25,000 cost associated with that, so just trying to get that into the financial plan before it's approved. Then this is yet again the financial plan. So I think the first attachment we were looking at was the public hearing, and then this is the financial plan itself, which I believe is mostly the exact same documentation. Then finally, this is the financial information return, which is just going over some details of the surplus. So the surplus numbers have changed since budget deliberations, or maybe a better way to put it would be the estimates have become more firm. So these sections do show projected surpluses, so I'm assuming these are not still perfectly locked in, but are just further refinements. So $2.4 million in the general operating fund, $1.8 million in the utility fund, and it kind of details here what some of the previous budget deliberation um, commitments of the previous surplus projections were given to, and then some fresh recommendations for the additional surplus that has now been projected. So that's all available there, both for the general operating revenue and the utility operating revenue. Going back a bit, there's a downtown washroom update, which I'm not going to spend too much time on because it seems, from my perspective, my opinion, that the downtown washroom debate or discussion has come back to council several times just in the few years that I've been observing them. And well, I'll leave my comments there. But basically, we have some highlights here. Recommendation includes that from November to March, the Princess Park washrooms would be locked overnight with washroom facilities available at Life's Journey. And there's a few different things I've highlighted here. You can feel free to read on your own, but essentially, administration is providing a few different options. In fact, I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom where I think it's summarized a bit better, where the first option is additional operating costs of $74,000 with some augmentation to security and cleaning routines. And then the second option is to acquire a prefabricated vandal-resistant washroom for nearly $500,000 and an annual operating cost of $76,000. At least I assume that's annual. It's not said because we're already a quarter of the way through 2026. So is this $76,000 for essentially a few quarters, or is this for the full year? That proration I'm not certain on. And some of the other things I'm going to skip past because they're pretty simple, uncontroversial planning or land use items that are either coming back to council or are downstream of previous items, in addition to that planning commission appointment. And I think the last item I really wanted to go over here was the housing accelerator funding. So, but again, this is kind of another return to council where the recommendation is right there. And from my quick skim, this essentially boils down to the existing action plan is working and just requesting council to continue with the plan and allocating the latest payment of funds toward the existing allocations, or the existing programs, you may call them. That's, I think, pretty much it. There's a little bit of debt. Well, I shouldn't understate that a little bit. About $2 million, I think, in debt issuance here, or debt approval. So that's the debt schedule there. We've seen what those look like in the past. Tax levy by law, again, just continues from the financial plan. So now the finances are, presumably once the finances will be approved by council, then the tax bylaw is to then go out and increase the mill rates and the collection of the municipal taxes. So that's all there if you are so interested. And once again, everything else is pretty much standard, should be, I would expect, uncontroversial zoning and planning related items. That's it. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you at the meeting.